Born on December 4th, 1937, in Oakland, California, Maximilian Adalbert Baer Jr. entered the world carrying a name already etched into American history. His father, Max Baer Sr., was the heavyweight boxing champion of 1934, a towering figure whose fame filled rooms before he ever entered them. Growing up in that shadow brought privilege, but it also brought constant expectation, as people assumed greatness should be inherited rather than earned. Balancing that force was his mother, Mary Ellen Sullivan, whose quiet strength shaped Max in ways fame never could. She emphasized discipline, education, and kindness, grounding him when the noise of public attention became overwhelming. From an early age, Max learned that identity could not rely on reputation alone. He absorbed lessons from both parents, strength from one and stability from the other, forming the foundation of a man determined to define success on his own terms rather than live forever as someone else's reflection, finding his own path through discipline and education. Rather than chasing instant stardom, Max Baer Jr. focused on developing balance and self-reliance. At Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento, he distinguished himself not as a curiosity or celebrity son, but as a dedicated athlete. He earned letters in 4 sports simultaneously and twice won the Sacramento Open Junior Golf Tournament, achievements that revealed versatility and focus rather than spectacle. These experiences reinforced teamwork, preparation, and humility, traits that would later serve him well in Hollywood. Continuing that philosophy, he attended Santa Clara University, where he earned a degree in business administration with a minor in philosophy. The pairing was intentional. Business taught him structure and strategy, while philosophy encouraged reflection and perspective. Long before he stood in front of a camera full-time, Max was already preparing for life beyond acting, quietly building the intellectual framework that would allow him to pivot, adapt, and survive in an industry known for short memories and rigid expectations. An early taste of performance and the call of entertainment. Max Baer Jr.'s introduction to performance came astonishingly early, long before television fame ever found him. In 1949, as a child, he appeared on stage in England at the Blackpool Pavilion in a production of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Though modest, the experience planted a seed, revealing the power of storytelling and live audiences. It was not a moment of instant transformation, but rather a quiet initiation into a world that demanded focus, courage, and emotional presence. As he matured, that early exposure stayed with him, shaping his comfort on stage and later on set. Acting for Max was never about ego alone. It was about learning timing, listening, and responsibility to others in the scene. Those lessons would become invaluable when the television industry began to move at a relentless pace, requiring actors to deliver consistent performances under tight schedules and constant scrutiny. Television's golden age and the rise of a familiar face. By the early 1960s, Max Baer Jr. had signed with Warner Brothers and entered television during one of its most demanding and creative eras. He appeared in a long list of popular series, including Maverick, Surfside 6, Hawaiian Eye, 77 Sunset Strip, Bronco, Sugarfoot, and Follow the Sun. These roles sharpened his professionalism, teaching him speed, adaptability, and discipline. Television sets were fast-moving environments, leaving little room for error or indulgence. For Max, this period was an education in consistency rather than celebrity. He learned how to hit marks, respect crews, and deliver performances reliably. Each appearance added to his credibility, but none hinted at the cultural phenomenon that was coming. He was simply a working actor, earning his place quietly, unaware that one role would soon define him in the public imagination for decades to come. Becoming Jethro Bodine and the Weight of Fame. In 1962, Max Baer Jr. stepped into the role of Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies, a character whose innocence and exaggerated charm made him instantly beloved. The show became a massive success, running until 1971 and embedding Jethro into American pop culture. Fame arrived quickly, accompanied by affection from audiences nationwide. Yet with that success came an unspoken cost. The role was so iconic that it began to overshadow everything else he did. While Max embraced the character and valued the joy it brought viewers, he became increasingly aware of the industry's tendency to confuse an actor with a role. Despite continued work in projects like Love, American Style, Vacation Playhouse, and A Time for Killing, opportunities narrowed. Jethro opened doors, but it also quietly closed others, forcing Max to confront a difficult question about longevity and control over his own career. Reinvention, behind the camera, and creative independence. Rather than resist change, Max Baer Jr. chose reinvention. Understanding that Jethro could limit him if he allowed it, he moved behind the camera, channeling his business education and creative instincts into filmmaking. In 1974, he produced, co-wrote, and starred in MacArthur County Line, followed by The Wild McCullochs in 1975. His greatest success came with Ode to Billy Joe in 1976, a box office hit that firmly established him as a capable filmmaker rather than a former sitcom star. These projects gave Max something television never fully could: ownership. He was no longer waiting for permission or approval. His final directorial effort, Hometown USA in 1979, closed a chapter defined by independence and risk. Through these ventures, Max proved that reinvention was not abandonment of the past, but an expansion beyond it. Life beyond Hollywood and a guarded personal world. Away from cameras, Max Baer Jr. demonstrated the same adaptability in business. He invested in real estate and later entered the casino industry, applying long-term thinking rather than chasing quick wins. He also explored ideas for a Beverly Hillbillies-themed enterprise, blending nostalgia with entrepreneurship. His personal life, however, remained largely private. His 1966 marriage to Joanne Kathleen Hill ended in divorce in 1971, a separation shaped by the pressures of public life rather than scandal. Later relationships drew occasional attention, though Max consistently chose discretion over publicity. As years passed, privacy became less a shield and more a necessity. He preferred to let work and actions speak rather than headlines. This restraint reflected maturity rather than withdrawal, allowing him to maintain dignity while navigating an industry and culture often eager to revisit the past without understanding its full context. Irene Ryan, strength behind the laughter. Now remembering with clarity rather than caution, Max Baer Jr. speaks most candidly about Irene Ryan, the woman audiences adored as Granny. Behind the scenes, she was formidable, disciplined, and uncompromising. A veteran of vaudeville, radio, and film, she carried decades of hard-earned experience and demanded excellence from everyone around her. As a young actor, Max initially found her intimidating, but over time, respect replaced fear. Irene tolerated no laziness and fiercely protected the integrity of her character. Beneath that toughness, she possessed a sharp wit, an unexpected warmth shaped by years of hardship and delayed recognition. Fame had come to her late, and she treated it as something to honor rather than exploit. Even as her health declined, she refused to slow down. Her death in 1971 felt to Max like more than a loss of a co-star. It marked the end of an era. The last witness to a bygone television family. Alongside Irene Ryan, Max Baer Jr. cherished a deep friendship with Buddy Ebsen, built on mutual respect and genuine affection. That bond endured long after the cameras stopped rolling, lasting until Ebsen's final days, when Max and Donna Douglas visited him shortly before his passing in 2003. With Douglas's death in 2015, Max became the last surviving regular cast member of the Beverly Hillbillies. This position carries both honor and quiet weight. He stands as a living bridge to a time when television emphasized warmth, simplicity, and shared laughter. At 88, Max Baer Jr. does not speak in myth or nostalgia. He speaks in truth, honoring not just the characters audiences loved, but the resilience, discipline, and humanity behind them, especially Irene Ryan, whose strength made her laughter unforgettable.